What's up, you guys? We're back again with another YONKES episode. Today we have this 2005 Silverado single cab Prerunner, and we have Gary here. He's going to explain to us what he's done here at KDM Fabrication. What's up, Gary?
What's going on, man? How you doing?
Good. So can you explain to us what you've done to this truck front to back?
Okay. Well, Omar came to us with kind of a vision, and he put his faith in us to let us build this entire truck. So when he initially brought it, all he had was the fenders on it, and I guess he had some work done on it prior by another guy and wasn't really thrilled about how it came out. So when he brought it to us, it initially just started as fixing the front fenders and then fixing the bed cage install, and then once I did all that, it kind of just snowballed into this elaborate build that we see here. So we did the Missoula install. So we ended up using box coilovers and bypasses. Bumps are from King. We ended up doing a hydro boost conversion on it, and then to go with the kit, we actually did Missoula hubs to go with the race lines. You know, it pairs well with this BFG project. And then once we got that all situated, Omar was asking, like, well, am I going to be able to get all the travel out of this? And it was like, well, we're technically going to need to do a little bit more to get you all the travel out of this kit. And what I mean by that is we had to do custom inner fenders, which are actually from Dirt King, but we also had to do the firewall patch right here, so that way he can get all the tire clearance and not clip the firewall as it's cycling up at full lock. So we ended up doing that as well. Just pop open the hood right here so you guys can take a look. So these are aftermarket inner fenders from Dirt King. They were nice enough to sell me a pair of these, and then I did my own modifications. We ended up doing these hood struts. I had to notch part of the hood just so that way the fuse box can fit comfortably in there without hitting the hood. And then while it was in there, we ended up getting a UMP air filter from Mackenzie's Performance. Had to modify the intake for this setup to work, and then on top of that, I made one of my coolant tanks for this truck, and it ended up working out perfectly. It's out of the way, so the tires aren't going to be hitting it at full bump. And then finally we did let's see, the 2500 hydro boost unit with the master, which we're going to end up upgrading to Willwoods at a later point in time. So that takes care of most of the suspension in the front. As far as the fabrication goes for the front bumper, that was another part that we played a role in.
Wait, hold up. So you did also the...
Oh yeah. So we did do the engine cross member. So a lot of people think that it's okay just to get away with doing like one solid tube, and yeah, you can get away with doing like 188 wall. Me personally, I've tried it. I haven't had much luck with it holding up long term. So what I ended up doing is I miter cut my engine cage, or my engine cross members now, and then I gusset it as well, just to make sure that it's going to last longer. So because what people don't understand is when you bend a tube, like, you're going to have a flexing point, because your shock towers are actually, they're going to bend in, you know, unless you have a full engine cage and you only have the cross member, it's going to flex. So this works out better. You won't have that flex point as much, so you won't be bending your frame either. So that was one thing that I pushed for in the long with a lot of my installs as well now.
And this truck also has a 6.0 with a 480 in there. And for the front bumper, you went ahead and did the whole front bumper and the fog lights, right?
Yes, sir. So Omar wanted a specific setup. I wanted to make sure that this bumper was going to last, so we actually did box frame horns from the frame up. A lot of people like to do just a tube with a plate. So what happens is if you crash, that tube will actually cave into that plate and then just basically go into the frame. So what I do is I do this design so that way it's structurally just stronger. And then he wanted it close to the front bumper, so he didn't want a Nerf bar because he wanted a really small, low profile front end. And then He also wanted to add some lights, so what I ended up doing was just removing the grill and then doing a small little frame behind the grill to mount all of his Baja design lights.
6 lights back there. And you also redid the fenders, right? Because these fenders weren't mounted properly the first time.
So it was like the guy had an idea of what he was doing, but it just wasn't properly executed. And me being OCD, like I had to like fix it, just because like the body line wasn't flowing well in my mind. Because you got your little line right here, but this was all tweaked, and the gap right here was all jacked up. Like it was just clipping the door, and I had to fix it.
And as is, fiberglass is never perfect, so I could imagine with it not being set up right, it's even worse.
Yeah, I mean that's I guess a common issue that a lot of people are encountering. They just expect glass to fit up perfectly every time, and that's not the case. It's not like stamped sheet metal that you can get it. There is going to be some fit ups. There's going to be some trimming. It's just unfortunately part of the game. So a lot of people need to understand that you need to have patience when it comes to installing fenders.
Yeah. Also got the Baja designs up here.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So let's move over to the back. So where do you want to start? You want to start up top or you want to start in the bottom?
We'll probably just work from the front, like from the cab back.
Oh, okay, cool.
So this was one of the things that needed to be addressed when the truck was first dropped off, because this bed cage was installed, but unfortunately it was done improperly, and the bed cage was actually like tweaked up, and you probably could have gotten away with it, but just the fab work wasn't that great. So I basically had to cut off all the plate work that was on the side of this frame and then redo it, and then I had to properly install this, and then I had spoke to Omar prior to like painting everything. I wanted to do a spare tire carrier, and he gave me the green light to go ahead and do that. So we ended up doing this design, which flows from the bed cage all the way to the back of the bed. And the cool part about this setup is all of this unbolts. So you got your tube clamps off the back end right here. So let's say you need some maintenance done, he can literally unbolt this whole bed cage along with the Dirt King bed cage. But something unique about it is for the front mount, per instructions, you're just supposed to drill a hole through the side of the frame. But the unfortunate part about that is if you ever wanted to remove this bed cage, you have to drop the gas tank to get to everything. And I felt as if I were going to be doing the maintenance on it, the easiest way for me is to put a weld bung in the side of the frame for the hardware just to go into. So with that mindset, I welded that bung into the frame, and then that makes it easier for removal now too. So any maintenance that Omar may need to do or I have to do, it's very easy to remove this entire setup to even lift the bed if he has to. So I wanted to make this thing stupid easy to work on.
So that part that you were just talking about, just to make it clear for you guys, he's talking about this part right here, right where you welded the bone.
So and then on top of that, if you guys were looking closely in the engine bay, you can see that there was a battery missing. So we relocated that to the back right here. There's plenty of real estate to do so, so we ended up doing that. And then Omar got his spare gas tank carrier. So he has his gas cans out on the road, doesn't have to worry about running out. And then on top of that, we made a mount for his Pro Eagle jack. Architect has these fluid carriers, so I ended up installing that as well. And then that brings us to the rear suspension. He's got 3.0 16-inch bypass shocks from Fox Racing, and then also he's got 2.0 2-inch bump cans that are going through the frame for his spring over setup. He's currently running a Deaver U180 2-pack with Missoula rear hangers and shackles and Blitzkrieg front hangers. So with the suspension pretty much all dialed in, that there was a few other details that he wanted to have incorporated with the design as well. So we ended up doing a tow hitch in the design. So we actually ended up getting this, I believe, from Izzy Fab, welded that in, and then what I did was just cut a window open for a tow hitch to go all the way through, and then I tied it into the frame as well, so that way it wouldn't just rip out if you did want to tow anything. So while I was down here, I thought it'd be a good idea to truss the rear end. I've been working with a company, I believe it's Naratmo. They have this truss kit. I believe it's for an Impala. So what I ended up having to do was modify it to work with this 10 bolt, and it works great because it basically acts like a brace for this rear end, and it's been doing very well so far. This will probably be upgraded at a different point in time. So with that said, the last piece of the puzzle was the two-piece drive shaft. Our boys over at Drive Shaft Pro took care of us in that department, so this thing is pretty much ready to go.
So what are the future plans for the trucks? Any little things you guys are gonna add?
Well, there's talks about getting a new rear end for it, because these 10 bolts are notorious for not lasting. And then also there's cage in the future, engine cage, and then upgrading the brakes for the front. But other than that, this thing's pretty stout. A couple more trips, some more shock tuning, this thing pretty much be floating across the desert.
You're gonna do the interior cage on it as well?
Yeah, I hope so. Omar and I have talked about it a couple times, and I can see that in the future happening. So fingers crossed.
One thing we forgot to mention: what was the gear set up on the diff?
488s.
48s
with a Detroit locker.
Okay. So on 37s, Omar said that I was cruising on the highway and everything with the 480.
Yeah, this thing's got a lot of power.
So tell us about your shop. How long have you been doing this?
I've been doing this for, I want to say on my own, for about 7 years now. I've made quite a few friends in the industry. I've worked with Dirt King, LSK, CWF Off-Road, Missoula, the list goes on and on. Very grateful for them. And then also, I'm very fortunate enough that I have people in the industry that I've stayed in contact with. One of my closest friends happens to be my welding instructor for college. So me and him split this shop, and he's been helping me out, and I help him out with the race truck. It's my way of saying thank you. So it's been really cool though.
That's
you know,
cool.
It's,
there you go. There you guys have it. I'm gonna give you guys a shot of the truck turning on, just so you guys could hear what it sounds like. Oh, I'm gonna show you guys the interior. I forgot to show them the interior. Yeah. This truck came with power windows, carpet, and everything. Not a lot of them do. And you were telling me that you did the switch panel for this truck as well, right?
yeah, just very
No
quickly.
switch panel. Looks clean up. Got the GPS, the tablet mounted.
Yes, that was also one thing I forgot to mention. We did that GPS mount. We eliminated the whole airbag in there, and then actually made a mount behind it. And then we're still able to manage to salvage the plastics, so that way it just looks like one whole solid piece.
Yeah, it looks clean. Like there's no holes or anything. It's just mounted onto that. With the sparkle steering wheel, with the quick release. It's nice and simple in here. Yeah.
Just need to get that cage in.
Yeah. I'm gonna have him turn it on right now. The owner of the truck actually came up with this design. Got the checker flags in the back, KDM Fab, Fox, BF Goodrich. Just gives it a nice sporty look, stands out a lot. So I'm gonna leave Omar's Instagram right here in the corner for you guys to follow the build, and also make sure to follow us on Instagram at YONKES_OXC Films. I will leave that in the description down below, and we'll catch you guys on the next one.